For all state assemblies, notice of ongoing fraud. July 9, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. We have today received an order from the Reign of Heaven Society demanding that we stand down and accusing us of stealing property that they propose belongs to them. The actual law and history is this, and we do have proof and documentation of it all. The reconstruction of our Confederation of States aka Confederate States after the Civil War was never finished. This led to part of the original federal government known as the Federal Republic, being inoperable. That created a vacuum of power, and our unscrupulous European subcontractors stepped into it. The actual Federation of States, not States of States, was never involved in the war directly, but suffered considerable undermining and misinformation. Many key officers and other people who worked for the actual Federation of States known as the United States of America were shot like Lincoln, threatened, forced to flee for their lives to the hinterlands of the Great Northwest as outlaws, bribed into complicity, blackmailed with sex and drugs, and otherwise overcome. This then allowed the actual criminals infesting Washington to bypass the actual government and usurp upon it. They didn't officially commit treason, but treason it was. They set aside the actual government and the actual federal constitution, known as the Constitution for the United States of America, and began operating under emergency powers that were never granted and don't in fact exist. They substituted British territorial states of states for the missing American states of states that were supposed to be running the Federal Republic part of the federal government and displaced the actual state government vested in the state assemblies of living people. As in Europe, they enfranchised everyone without full disclosure and unlawfully converted people into persons, depriving them of their actual identities, rights, and assets. In 1868, a Scottish commercial corporation stole the good name and identity of our Federation of States, the United States of America, and began doing business as the United States of America, Incorporated, for purposes of credit fraud, just like a credit card hacker steals identities today. We have the articles of incorporation and records of this Scottish interloper, so we know what went on and have the proof of it. This Scottish doppelganger went bankrupt in 1907 and the bankruptcy settled in 1953, leaving a considerable amount of detritus and stolen artifacts of the Federal Republic and a few bits of things belonging to the Federation up for auction at a naval yard auction. Keith Livingway, the organizer of the Reign of the Heavens Society, went to the auction, bought the stolen artifacts, and is trying to claim that he owns the United States of America, that is, the defunct Scottish interloper, hence the cease and desist order from him and his crew. They are acting as pirates under international law, because they are stealing what was stolen from us by the Scottish interloper, which was a pirate before them. The actual international law is, possession by pirates does not change ownership. So everything including our good name and trademarks which were ours in 1776 and ever afterward, are still ours, not theirs, by simple operation of law. They are the thieves and would be pirates. The same laws that apply when some hacker steals your identity and makes charges on your credit card, apply to them and the Scottish interloper that preceded them, too. Receipt of the proceeds of a theft and failure to return the property to the rightful owners makes you an accomplice to the original theft, which is exactly where both the Reign of Heaven Society and Russell J. Gould stand at this moment. Both have been fully informed and told the truth about this matter, and both have refused to return the stolen items to the actual government of this country. Ironically, they have accused me of doing what they have done themselves, that is, theft of our country's assets, but that is nothing new, as those in the dark always accuse their opponents of doing what they are doing themselves. I suppose that pirates suspect everyone else of being pirates, too. However, in that supposition they are provably wrong. Not only do I have a published and recorded irrevocable will that clearly sets forth my settled intention for everything I have done, they do not, but my statement of intent and will have been carried through and implemented via literally hundreds of claims and recordings that serve to, 1. Reclaim all the assets of the Federal Republic, the original American states of states and the state trusts set up for them after the Civil War, 2. Reclaim all the assets of the unauthorized municipal states of states and the United States, Inc., 3. Reclaim all the assets of the territorial states of states and the USA, Inc., and e pluribus unum the United States, Inc., 4. Return these and a great many other assets to the Union of States, DBA, the United States, and assign the international powers to the United States of America. This was done so that everything was restored right and proper, with all ownership interest returned to the living people and the actual physical states, and all mutually held powers in the international jurisdiction were formally returned to the United States of America. So beyond any question, the national soil jurisdiction has been returned to the Union and to the living people and to their states, and the international land and sea jurisdiction have been returned to the United States of America, the member states, and the people. And then beyond all of that, we raised the alarm and summoned the actual states of the Union into session. This required a great deal of research and effort, because in the intervening years, those who profited from the Scottish fraud in the first place, put up obstacles meaning to keep their ill-gotten gains. Specifically, they misdirected our own public employees to mischaracterize us as federal citizens, not Americans. We have had to unravel the entire scheme and develop potent means for Americans to reclaim their individual, natural birthright political status, before they could enter into and operate their actual state governments again. But we have done it, and we have educated enough people, and we have transported enough Americans home to the land and soil jurisdiction of every state, and we now have 50 populated states of the Union in place, and we have 50 legitimate state assemblies in every state to make the correct claim with the proper standing to be the only legitimate and actual lawful government of this country, the government of, for, and by the people, that is, the state citizens of every state of the Union, who are owed enforcement of all the federal constitutions. So the ones without a contract, without a history, without a legitimate claim, without honorable declared intent, without standing to make a claim, without all the recorded claims and assignments, without any right to use our good name on as much as a single piece of paper, without any claim upon the Confederation, without any claim on the Federal Republic, without any claim upon the municipal United States, without any claim upon the territorial United States, and certainly without any claim on the actual Federation, the United States of America, are all these old pirates, sitting there, trying to bullshit everyone into compliance with their fraud scheme. Well, it isn't going to work, and even if we were weak-minded enough to pay any attention to Keith Livingway and the Reign of the Heavens orders, which we are not, it wouldn't change anything, because the claims in favor of the actual unincorporated Union and our Federation of States and each member state, are already in place. Everything has already been transferred back to the Union, the member states, and the people, and international control of the land and sea has been reassigned to the United States of America, which is controlled by the states and people of this country operating in international jurisdiction. Not Keith Livingway. Not the Reign of the Heavens Society. Ironically, they have accused me of stealing what they have proposed to steal, but I have done exactly what I published as my irrevocable will, standing on the public record of the Anchorage, Alaska, recording office. What it says, is that I am taking and seeking only my own private and share of public property assets, my name, my plot of land, my home, my natural and unalienable rights, my constitutional guarantees, the same exact things that are owed and granted to every other American. I didn't take anything for me that I didn't also take back and restore to all of you, your country, your assets, your privacy, your good names, your rights, your lawful identities, your states of the Union, your beneficial commercial contracts, treaties, and public law. These other people acted as traitors, and seized upon your stolen assets for themselves. They didn't shove themselves in the gap and hold the door open for you, so that you could come home and reclaim your birthright inheritance. They didn't educate you about the actual history, and having seized upon your assets, they didn't go through the expense and time and agony that we did, to record and register all the claims necessary to reclaim your assets for you and your states of the Union, too. They didn't take you, one by precious one, and show you how to reclaim your birthright as Americans so that you would have proper standing to operate your states of the Union. And they surely haven't been your wingmen, showing you how to self-govern and bring your lawful state assembly into session. They stole some part of your nation's identity, and didn't even try to return your property to you. Instead, they set up kingdoms for themselves, based on spurious claims, and planned another round of pirates jolly. Russell J. Gould seized upon the title IV flag that you loaned to the territorial United States government, which is nothing but one particular proportion size of your war flag, Old Glory, and is attempting to use that pitiful ruse as a means to defraud and mislead the U.S. military into supporting his claims. They don't need Russell J. Gould and his verbiage to reclaim the title IV flag. The title IV flag doesn't belong to him or to them. It belongs to us, the American states and people. We just loaned it to our federal subcontractors for their use when exercising our delegated powers. If they lost it, it is still ours. Despite his claims otherwise, you still own the title IV flag and every other size and proportion of Old Glory that you care to use and own and fly proudly. You also own the peacetime flag, and you are entitled to fly that one, too. Gould is also trying to employ another old Roman fraud, the Justinian deception, which involves the use of Dog Latin and the use of anglicized Latin to make a mockery of any contract or legal process. Just go listen to the research of Romilly Stewart to get a bellyful of that scam. Keith Livingway has attempted to repeat the performance of the Scottish interloper, and offered to steal and copyright the name of your Federation of States, and to pretend that thereby, he controls and owns the United States of America, Incorporated. Here is a piece of information for him, his cohorts, for all of you and for people everywhere: corporations can exist for any lawful purpose. It doesn't say legal purpose, does it? No, it does not. And all corporations that attempt fraud are subject to immediate liquidation. The man uniquely responsible for making sure that corporations function in a lawful manner is the Pope. I am forwarding this public notice and request for action to him, requesting that any copyright or other corporate charter granted to Keith Livingway or the Reign of the Heavens Society in the name of the United States of America be dissolved as an implement of fraud and attempted piracy against the interest and without the permission of the actual holders in due course. And as for you, state assemblies, it's time you all posted notices back to the Reign of the Heavens Society and to Keith Livingway, neither of which have a proper mailing address, for obvious reasons, telling them that honest Americans are welcome to come home, but pirates will be prosecuted. Links to Anna's articles and resources can be found in the video description box. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing. If you enjoy having Anna's latest articles made into videos, please consider making a purchase from Ed's website sacredintuitiveelements.com. Thank you.